This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
On the troll.
Okay, that's enough.
All right, I wanted to make sure that you guys are up. It is the time of being up.
That
It is that time. It's the morning. It is the time of the night where we have to talk about what is happening about that court.
Eish.
If you were lost, I think you have found yourself.
Eish.
You were wondering what Ratha is thinking.
Hela.
Clearly, you have
Thixo.
gotten a glimpse of what that man is thinking.
Helang.
He's not mincing his word.
Helang.
He says what he believes. He's the judge. Right? I like the last part. I see everything else. I see the ruling and whatnot. He was at pain to actually rule against. And I did tell you guys that there is no other way around this thing. But he obviously had to rule that way because he was going to set a wrong precedent.
Yes.
Either way, so there's nothing to be excited about that. He did what he was supposed to do. But here is what you need to understand about the case that remains and rests on his shoulders in a sense of what decision is to be taken. The last part of that court towards the end, I think you got the understanding. So I want you to, perhaps before we go to it, but I want you to understand why Mnisi objected.
Why?
Did you get that part why Mnisi was objecting?
Well, I heard him argue that the state is, which part, the one where he was talking about, Konje, which one is it, the last one?
The one where he was talking about the founding of the bullet.
Yes, that the police officers started chasing people and then...
Where you didn't want to hear Mnisi?
And then Mnisi is objecting because that is not the evidence, number one. And number two, that changes the case. That changes the case because if he's going to say that those police officers did not check the kitchen counter, they didn't check in the kitchen, it changes the whole evidence.
Does it change the whole evidence?
It does.
Or he's simply saying that everything else is null and void.
What is null and void?
Except the police that found the evidence. That's what that judge was saying.
So he's saying boom teto are irrelevant.
You don't look at them as people who looked for the bullet.
Why is he doing that though?
Why is it important for what he said? Why is it important to actually sit and discuss what he said? It is important because in that court, we are expecting a partial judge to be sitting and evaluating evidence that is before him. But what we had there yesterday was a judge that has a position that he has taken. A position that the lady that came in the morning and found the bullet is the one that has a theory that is sound and proper. And basically, everything else should be looked at as something that did not happen. Do you understand that part? Why is that part important?
Why?
We are talking about the judge that is given information by Msiya and the police that were there.
Yes.
Those people are saying, we looked, we didn't find a bullet.
Yes.
And we chased after these people. As we were chasing after they came back and looked, we didn't find any bullet. Right?
Yes.
It is important to have that evidence to be scrutinized. Because the defense has submitted that the police,
Yes.
they planted that bullet.
Yes.
That's why the first police and Bo Mlokuzane could not find the bullet.
Yes.
And that is a theory that is sitting before that court.
Yes.
That was submitted by the defense more especially Mshololo,
Yes.
who had to put it clear that they planted
They did, allegedly.
that bullet. And it was after a rigorous cross-examination that led to a judge saying, put it to him that they planted this evidence, right?
Yes.
And Mshololo did exactly that. He was blaming a defense for for rounding the table. They should say what they mean. And they did. But yesterday,
A couple of months later.
Yesterday, what we saw is a judge, after that theory that has been put after him, no arguments, no nothing. We're still at the process of finding evidence.
Yes.
But we had a judge that had a decision and a position. If you tell me that that is not being biased, then I don't know what bias is. A judge is supposed to listen to evidence. There is still a ballistic expert from the defense that is still going to come.
Yes, they are not done.
There are people who are still going to come and counter everything that has been put there.
Yes.
But a judge fought through tooth and nail to prove or to even put it on record that the only explosible evidence clear to him as a judge is that the bullet was found because those ones who came first, they didn't look properly. That's a decision.
Not even look properly. He took away the fact that they looked. All of it.
That is a decision.
Eliminated the process of them looking and just said they chased the people. And
that is the decision. So
He
that
did
would
this
mean
with
that
that
the theory
inconclusive.
that the people who came after, everyone that had come and looked for evidence and
They
couldn't
didn't
find,
look.
that is
According
what the
to
judge
him.
is actually saying, that
They
I
didn't.
believe Mhlahlo.
And Mhlahlo did not plant that bullet.
Exactly. That's a position of the judge. In case you did not get it, that's what the judge was saying. Because tell me why on earth in a criminal case that is still
Sure, lo baba.
on, that is still gonna wait for argument, that is still gonna wait, why would you fight this much to have
And
one
he's
theory?
fighting. That's the most confusing part for me, is that he's fighting. And he did this with that inconclusive DNA. He did exactly the same strategy of rewriting evidence. And then next thing you see Baloyi running with it like it's a fact.
So if you tell me that we have a judge that is not biased, I don't know. In my opinion, then that will mean there will never be a biased judge in my eyes if Ratha is not biased, in my opinion.
He's forever attempting to change evidence, and crucial evidence.
I'm not a law student, but clearly, from what I heard yesterday, that part was a highlight for me. Where the judge is standing, as things stands now. We can go through the banks, we can go through everything, we can go through whatever that we want to. The judge is sitting. Remember, the defense is still going to debunk this whole evidence.
Yes.
There is an expert that is still going to come and say the bullet maybe couldn't have done what they said it has done.
Perforated on the floor and then flew to the kitchen counter.
Accused number 3 is saying they planted this.
Yes.
There is evidence before this judge that this gun had to be tested many times.
Yes.
There is evidence before this judge that at some point when they took this gun for testing again so that they can find a match, the evidence was not handled properly.
Yes.
It was not sealed.
Yes.
There is no answer for that, which supports more of the theory of planting.
There's Mokete as well, who says she found a silver projectile.
And then there is a theory of silver projectile, which
On the
supports
very same kitchen.
as the first bullet, or as the bullet that hit the floor that was damaged, which supports the theory of a revolver, right?
Yes.
Not a 9mm.
No.
But this judge, in one of the crucial points, he has taken a decision. How many decisions has he taken? How many
lot,
that we
most
don't know
probably.
yet about, because there's no argument about. Clearly, that gun was in that house. Clearly, accused number 3 and number 2 were in the house. Clearly, there was accused number 5 as a driver wheel car. Clearly, there was Mr. Mapisa just a roundabout. Clearly, there was a spear standing outside. Do you get where I'm going with this?
I get you. I get you where you're going with this.
Clearly, Longwe pushed everyone and went out.
Clearly, all of the accused are guilty.
Clearly, everyone in that house told the truth.
And clearly, they're guilty. He just wants a guilty verdict. Then he wants to change the evidence to fit the judgment he, in my opinion, already has. So today also, he said something that baffled me about the de novo situation. He said it's Judge Ledwaba who said that the evidence from the previous proceedings with Maumela should be expunged. It's not him. He's not the one who made that order.
I'm surprised. Are they the courts, the people? Or the courts is what the proceedings is going through?
He says he's the court sometimes. Sometimes he refers to himself as the court. So today he excluded himself from expungement because he's trying to give Advocate Balwe another opportunity.
To actually bring the evidence of de novo.
That happened when Advocate Tifo was still on. That happened prior, which now has us baffled because the state witnesses
How many times has he cautioned?
contradicted their
How
evidence.
many times has he cautioned those people from asking questions about
What had happened?
what had
before
happened there?
he said
They
on
wanted
the-
to ask about the case of 375,
Yes, he was
And-
stopping them.
wanting to proceed on what was said there.
Yes.
He stopped them. But today,
And all the witnesses who testified before and after, they changed and they altered their testimonies.
yes,
All of them.
and they are done testifying.
So now he wants to.
Open that debate of de novo.
He's even asking him for the authority, which means the authority is there. It is there. If he's asking for it, it means it's there. He's giving his favorite prosecutor homework and a scope to say, go look for that authority and come back tomorrow and see if you can introduce this. This is so strange. This is cringy. This is like a horror film that refuses to end. Because it seems like he's enjoying the stretching of this cross-examination by Baloyi. It's like he's not supposed to finish and he's also assisting in that process. Because we were told that the evidence prior to de novo is not going to be considered. In fact, it's like it doesn't exist. Those were his words when he said there on the first day. And now he's doing a whole 360 just because Advocate Baloyi is drowning, allegedly. I mean, I've never seen this type of desperation and evil in 4K on display. It's actually scaring me. And now we are finding out other things that are happening with that Julius Mkwanazi at EMPD. Mr. Ramis, do you know that he was the one responsible for forming these tactical force teams allegedly in EMPD, including Swatile? the SWAT that has been disbanded, that their evidence could have assisted Bosbia and Tansi. It's no longer available. The AVLs of the motor vehicles that were used when they get, it's no longer available. It's been disbanded. Hi man, couldn't pay off. There's so much evil. Hi, like it's unbelievable to watch this thing. It's like, yo, really? Every day, Babasa. Every day, I'm shocked. So now you're gonna rewrite everything just to accommodate your favorite prosecutor. You're going to stretch every angle of the law just so. Maybe he's trying to salvage him. I don't know. But this is so weird. It's so weird. Someone was even posting on X, Abu Zuguti. I keep waiting for the time when the judge says, Mr. Baloyi, where is this question going? It's not coming.
No, it's never going to come.
It's not happening.
It's never going to come. He must do whatever.
So much grace.
To create enough circumstantial evidence for a judge to actually make a ruling.
Sure.
So, here's the funny thing. De novo, when can evidence from previous trial be used? It can only be used if, number one, both the states and the defense consent.
Okay.
If there's an agreement that evidence can be used. Number two, the court can formally admit the previous record as the evidence under the Law of Evidence Amendment Act of 1988. Section 3 of 1A.
They're going to use that one.
That's where they are going.
That's where they're going.
So the submissions are going to be based on that. The witness from the first trial, if number 3, or the witness from the first trial is unavailable, in this case, Mngomezulu, or, I guess in this case, Mngomezulu is not available to actually continue with that line of questioning. And their previous testimony is admitted under Section 31C. There's 31A of Evidence Amendment Act 45 of 1988. And there's 31C, Section 31C, in the interest of justice. The same way those things were admitted for the interest of justice, the testimony, the so-called confessions, provided it is reliable and the accused had prior opportunity to cross-examine. These are the two sections that they're gonna stick on under the law of evidence. So wait and behold. That you didn't expect, ne?
I didn't. So this is a war. You know, when you are fighting with an enemy and they convince you to drop your guard down. This is how this judge is playing. He convinced the defense to not fight, to have previous testimonies, Zandi, Tumelo, being used against them. And now that it's appropriate to fight for what he wants or what he likes, so now he's taking out the very same weapons.
Yeah, the rules are off. The gloves are off.
The gloves
everything.
are off now. So
yeah.
this is what it is. The gloves are off. But it's interesting how in war your enemy will convince you to put your guard down.
That's what we call it, basically.
That's what just
The
happened.
defense was pushed to put their
Because
guards down.
they wanted to compare the testimonies of Zandi Tumelo before
Now,
and after, and they were told, no, you can't do that.
yes.
So now what they have to find out is if Ngampela, they were not supposed to do that, so that they put it on record that it was your order that we should not do that. You ordered us not to do that. But now they must put it in their arguments. But now that the state is found wandering, they are allowed
So they are going to start
to do
with
what you said is not allowed.
with the case of S versus Basson. That talks about the previous evidence cannot automatically carry over. And then they're going to use those sections, of law of evidence, which is section or Law of Evidence Amendment Act of 45 1988. One section 3 of 1A, it's by consent, and if that fails, then we look at the witness from the first trial is not available. Highlight that. The person must not be available. Let me remove the witness part. The person must not be available. Their previous testimony is admitted under section 3(1)(c). That's what they're going to be scraping around.
So the testimony that Balo is trying to work with is the one where Advocate for it put on record that Kelly is the one who shot Senzo.
And Mngomezulu.
Also
About
that of
Long.
Mngomezulu about Longwe. But that one threw me off guard, the one that Defo had talked about, and that was actually his last day on the proceedings.
So they are going to now want to formally
introduce that part of evidence, but introducing it
only by consent or through formally readmission.
Ngoba with consent is not going to happen, but they're going to use the law of evidence to introduce it.
So you must wait for another heads of argument.
Another one.
Yes, de novo trial is equivalent to a new trial, starting afresh.
You know, when he distanced himself from the ruling that he expunged.
But there is a blurry line.
What's the blurry line?
The blurry line is that the court can admit under Section 3 of Evidence of Amendment Act in the interest of justice.
Which is what he's probably going to do if Baloyi fails to argue. He's not sleeping. He's not sleeping at night. He's busy looking and paging, looking for a way to save the state. Allegedly.
So, we probably have discussed the meat of this case, of the proceedings
we
of
began
today.
with the meat today.
Yeah, good for you. You were here.
I'm done. I'm done with these people. I'm so tired of their shenanigans. I'm so tired.
It's like a
So
boxing
Sibiya kahle
marathon.
with all of this happening, uzoqeda next year estimation bomamachi so. At this rate, abafune suge laphaya. They don't want him to finish.
Something like that.
Yeah, so they're going to pull every head in the bag. Trust me, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. There's more. I have a feeling there's more. So Sibiya is not going to get off that stand in November or December. We are in November. So December, maybe they'll take an adjournment for recess. And then when they come back, he'll still be on that stand at the rate that this is going at. I don't even know if this is constitutional or what. They have to find out the defense, because now this is war. This is no longer a time to be nice and cordial and what. You also must look for authorities. Whenever you want something, to argue something, you must look for authorities and also put them on record. Because a witness being put on the stand for months and months, something is not right with that. I'm sure there's an authority somewhere that is ruling against
You
us.
see, Laura, the interest of justice part always kill me. It sort of allows that superpower to say,
Like
I want to
those
see the
shady
puzzles.
confessions.
It's basically in a simple terms is that if I don't accept this, it stops this narrative that I also want to hear.
Yes.
So let me accept it. That is when we say for the interest of justice.
Yes.
This is me like making it simpler, because if I don't accept this, then this whole thing stops. For example,
Yes.
if we did not accept
The confessions,
the so-called confessions, this case will be over.
Yes.
So the judge believed that there is some
Case to
avenues
answer
to actually look at and then decide later.
And
So
today,
that's what
in his
interest of
judgment,
justice is
he's
saying.
Mr. Ngumalo said he only relied on the confession. He said it's not true. I also looked at Zungu's evidence. I also looked at the cell phone records. Does he even understand those cell phone records?
No.
Does he see the discrepancies in Zungu's testimony?
No.
Does he care
In a
for
sense, he
them?
would say, I do, because I did say that not all of it is, but there is some meat in that.
Something was very wrong when Zungu's statement and the manner in which it was introduced. Something was very off there. Something was wrong. It was like wool was put over the defense's face. Something was very wrong with the introduction of that statement and how it was done. Every time when I look back and I see the procedure that took place when Zungu's statement was received, icon, that should have been a sign that we are about to go on a very wicked journey.
Yebo.
This is a wicked journey. All strength to Sbi, he's going to need it.
Indeed. Indeed.
They're not going to let him go. He's held hostage on that witness box.
Indeed.
He's
So
not going to.
we have probably analyzed most part.
The most
The
important.
most important part of what this case, of what yesterday's proceedings were about. That was the gist of it all. It has happened. Now I want to ask those who are saying, hey, are you still in the same position? Or you're now coming along?
Sure.
So, Emily, let's start.
Hi guys. Iyangithusa mina le case ngendlela enzaka ngayo. Ay. Well, court resumed with news about accused number 1 not being well today. Apparently, he consulted with the doctor in the morning and he got a medical certificate. It was issued. Advocate Nisi said that he had a little bit of a discomfort in his tummy and he indicated that the court may proceed, but he's going to have occasions where he might need body breaks and stuff like that. So they're going to ask for adjournments should that happen. But to my surprise, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. There was only a moment where he asked to sit down, you know. So Mnisi said that he is okay and he requested, of course, for that short break that should it need to be taken, then they will ask for the judge to give it to them. Well, the judge said that the one time he was accused, he was doing a case of 13 accused in Joburg. I think it's the JP case, the one that we talked about back in the day. he did that case. It was around 2007 or so, can't recall properly. And one of the accused, he said that at about tea time had a stomach cramp or stomach cramps, and he was rolling while sitting there in the dock. And he said he asked him if they could continue. He said no, he's not feeling well. And then the state, no, this guy might be simulating. So he says what he did is that he told them that they phoned the district surgeon. They did, but the district surgeon said he was busy. So
aren't you tired of that story?
He said that they must go get a private practitioner. Or he's told it before. Has he?
Think about it.
I don't remember.
You've never heard it
saying it like this, though. It was more detailed.
It's the same story being told in different
So he's
forms.
telling it in different forms. So, but today I got a sense like he's trying to justify himself, or to try and present himself like he's a person who has a good heart. He wouldn't let people who are sick get tortured while they have to sit on the dock. He's trying to rewrite what has happened in this
with
case.
Mngomezulu.
Yes.
Aye. We heard that story though.
Well, I got a sense like that, like he wants us to feel somehow that, oh no, he's not as bad. He's not really bad. But we're still traumatized about that treatment he gave to Mngomezulu. That will never go away in my head. I'm still kind of shocked. So he now reframes this story, and it has a lot more depth and a lot more like, oh, I was just doing my job. And then the lawyers came back and accused me of saying, oh, you see, you've already found these people guilty. You even found them a doctor. And then it was all awkward. Well, he was expected to make a ruling. He made his ruling. He emphasized that the ruling is a ruling and not a judgment. I don't know what the difference is, and I couldn't care. Because a ruling and a judgment is the same thing, in my opinion. But he's saying it's not. A ruling is a ruling, as if it will change. Should he change it? The confessions are still there and he still believes in them. So I don't understand what's the difference. And then he said a ruling on a point of law and also a constitutional point. He said that he researched a bit and found a case of Mhlongo, and he said he thinks it's applicable here because in the constitutional court, in that appeal, the defense raised two constitutional issues: that the circumstances surrounding the cross-examination of those two accused was not fair because it contravened Section 9 of the Constitution, which guarantees that all the accused and the witnesses of the state should be accorded fairness. They must not be treated unequally. Did you get the sense that that's what has been happening in this case from him? No.
So just to give you a background of the ruling is a decision made by the court during the course of the proceedings before the trial ends on a specific point of law, evidence,
what's a
or
judgment?
procedure. Then a judgment is towards the end. The judgment is a final decision.
Okay.
It's an alpha of all.
But a ruling is also final. It's not like it's going to
No,
change.
it's not final. It's ruling based on a specific point of law. Let's say we are arguing about whether to accept the so-called confession or not. We submit our heads of arguments. He made a ruling. He's saying that ruling is not the judgment. I'm not saying by ruling so, I'm going to find you guilty or I'm not going to find you guilty. That's basically what he's saying. That's what, in simple terms, the ruling is saying. It's basically saying...
So he's covering himself with calling it the ruling.
No, it's a ruling. It is a ruling.
It is
What
a
happens
ruling.
during the court proceedings is a ruling. If we're arguing about a certain point of law, and then I say, oh, I think I get you, Emily. Mr. Anonymous is wrong. I don't think Mr. Anonymous understood the law correct here. You understood it properly. You submitted properly. I think I agree with you. That's a ruling between the two of you. so that we stop this argument and proceed, or stop?
Well, he said, and further, that Section 35F of the Constitution was being transgressed because it deprived accused number 2 the unfettered right to give evidence. He said we must remember that he hasn't given evidence. He also has the right to challenge evidence, even the evidence, if he wants to, of accused number 1. So that right remains unfettered. So what has happened in this case, Mr. Baloyi has already cross-examined accused number 1 regarding the so-called confession or executorial statement he made. And this court, you'd recall, he said, all I did was to make a ruling that the statement by Mr. Sbia, the status of that statement has not been defined definitely by this court as a confession or as an executorial statement. Mr. Baloyi calls it an executive statement because what has happened is normally State versus Bartman 1929 defines it as an unequivocal admission of guilt. But if you look at the statement made by Mr. Sbia and Mr. Ntanzi, they are not unequivocal admissions of guilt. So an unequivocal admission of guilt is when a person makes a statement and admits all the elements of the offense, like saying, I killed Ratam Khwatleng and burned his body. But in this matter we have not yet made an unequivocal statement to the status of the statements, what they are as from the court's perspective. So this very issue was transversed and debated in the case of Mhlongo versus Nkosi, Mhlongo versus the state and Nkosi versus the state. The judge read the law as explained by the Constitutional Court, Section 9 of the Constitution, and he said it was contended. He was reading another judgment from, I think it's the Mhlongo versus state case. He just read it. So I'm going to read it for you guys. It was contended by the applicants by the distinction drawn by Ndlovu between confessions and admissions effectively leads to indirect preferential treatment between groups of accused persons, those implicated by an admission on the one hand and a confession on the other. A confession is inadmissible against another person, while according to Ndlovu, an admission may be admissible. Ndlovu was set aside. It violates Section 91 of the Constitution, which provides that everyone is equal before the law and entitled to equal protection and benefit of the law. A distinction between the confession admissions is determined solely by the extent to which the statement implicates its maker. So the distinction becomes relevant in determining the safeguards that are put in place to ensure the voluntariness of the confession or admission. If a confession can be used with little more to secure the conviction of its maker as opposed to an admission which would require the state to prove various elements of the crime, then there may be logic in applying more stringent requirements on its admissions against that accused. The distinction apparently in the difference between Section 217 and 219A of the current Criminal Procedure Act. However, the distinction has nothing to do with a third party. Accordingly, there is no rational reason why, then used against another person, there should be a difference in the admissibility of the two types of statements. The Supreme Court of Appeal in the case of Ditapo said the following: from the perspective of one accused who may implicated in the statement of another, one strained to discern a sound basis for the distinction. He said why the court in Mulimi declined to pronounce on the issue is stated that the argument may be sound. A differentiation must be evaluated in terms of Section 91 of the Constitution, and this court, he said, has held that a distinction made in the law will contravene Section 9 if it is irrational. And he said the purpose of this is to ensure that the state functions in a rational manner in order to enhance the coherence and integrity of the law. This is essential to the rule of law, the fundamental premise of the constitutional state. It must be ascertained whether a differentiation complained of is rationally connected to the achievement of a legitimate government purpose as opposed to being arbitrary to caprice. To this end, and legitimate purposes must be identified. He said it's difficult to conceive any rational reason why an admission sought to be admissible against the co-accused but not a confession. The state offered no reason in this differentiation, and he said the rationale for precluding the admissibility of a confession, the inherent dangers of using statements by co-accused, which is expressly guaranteed in Section 19 of the current Criminal Procedure Act, applies equally to admissions. The type of express concern that mere characterization of a statement as a confession or admission could determine its inadmissibility. You know, as I'm going through this, I'm realizing why he had to take another judgment and just read it.
Yeah.
He has literally broken some of the rules here, some of the stuff that has been stated here. He hasn't portrayed them in this case. As I'm going through it, it's hitting me like, oh my God, everything. That's why he had to read it, because everything is going against the urge and the will with him presiding over this case. It's not coming from the heart. That's why he couldn't even waste his time to write from his own mind. And research and cross-reference and make, a ruling that's, unique. Now I get it. I get it, because it doesn't, I hambigatle, That's why he had to read it. So he said it had not been done here by this court. That concern became manifest in this matter. The High Court initially characterized the extracurricular statement by Mr. Majek and Mr. Kanye as confessions, only to later recharacterize them as admissions. It was contended by the applicants that this was an attempt to force open the door to the admission of these statements as evidence against them, and that this could undermine the integrity of the courts, even though admissions and confessions are distinctly defined. He said it's possible for the courts to get it wrong, with possible prejudicial consequences for an accused. The differentiation between an accused implicated by a confession versus admissions cannot be lawfully sustained. It is not designed to achieve any legitimate purpose. It is an irrational distinction which violates Section 91. It cannot be saved by the limitation clause contained in Section 36 of the Constitution, because this limitation of a right to equality before the law is not reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society based on human dignity, equality, and freedom. Nor did the state seek to justify this limitation. So the judge said that's the reason this court said maybe it would be infringing on the rights of accused number 2 to the use of accused number 2 statement or confession to cross-examine Mr. Sbiya. The judge then read the common law exception definition. He said this court has not made a finding that the statements of any of the accused 1 or 2 are executive statements. So now he's also cancelling the point of argument that was made not only by the state but by the defense as a response to say that they need to know what this is. Is it an executive statement or is it a confession? What is it? Do you remember those points from Mr. Yes. So he's saying that, this court has not made a finding that the statements of accused 1 and 2 are executive statements. So what are they?
They are confession as such.
So he said people must remember that this case is still continuing. That election will be done by this court at the end of the case. So he's going to label them at the end of the case. Mm-hmm. And he's going to call them confessions.
If he feels that the state has done enough to prove that they were taken freely and voluntarily.
After all the parties have addressed the law, the facts, but at this moment, this court is still continuing. Only one accused person has given evidence, although he has not yet completed his evidence. So that is the reason why he's saying that he's not interpreting the law. He's just saying that this court has not yet said any of the statements here, 1 or 2, constitute 2 executive statements. That is by an accused. What were they doing with this? We were testing waters. What was going on with approving this application by the state? Do you think they were sussing out to see the defense?
They were sussing out, and I think other than sussing out, a more important thing is that they were creating the room to maneuver. Yeah, so it didn't materialize. It failed because they haven't been pronounced as executive statements, which I think this is section 217.
Yes.
So neither they haven't been actually properly accepted. They still need to be ventilated as they are for each and everyone who did them. Expect the same exercise with Ndanzi, where he is going to be pinned against his so-called confession in a point where he is going to be made to look like a person who is now denouncing it. So that's what this exercise is all about. That's why Baloyi keeps on referring to what he refers to as lies. That you guys are capable of lying. So you could be lying about the confessions too.
That's why he's trying to get him twisted, going through bank statements for 3 weeks and stuff.
Yes.
He said it may be
of a witness.
So he's attacking his character.
Yes.
It may be admissible against the co-accused if it was made in furtherance of a common purpose or conspiracy. The judge said that this court has also not made a finding as to whether all these accused before court acted in pursuance of a conspiracy or a common purpose. He said there must be other evidence aluende to establish the existence of a common purpose before the statement can be taken into account. He said this court is not pronounced on the evidence aluende, and this court may have pronounced on the application lodged by accused number 4's counsel when he was bringing an application. All the court pronounced upon was that the evidence of Zungu was not so hopeless it can be thrown away. So akafuna ukutetela le evidence ka Zungu that is shaky. That's why they are blue ticking Absalom Zungu, there's interview and stuff. And that is the only attack Mr. Nxumalo made in that application of 174. And I said that there are other derivatives in constructive evidence which was led in this court. For instance, he said there was evidence pertaining to cell phones, etc. And this court never pronounced itself on the other evidence which Mr. Nxumalo ignored. And I said the case against the defense is not only predicated only and solely the evidence of Zungu. He said, consequently, I agree that the defense says there's merit to constitutional invalidity regarding Mr. Baloyi's attempt to take the statement of accused number 2, who was not cross-examined by Mr. Spear, who has not cross-examined Mr. Spear, that is frowned upon in section 9 subsection 1, and it also infringes section 35 of the Constitution regarding the freedom of a litigant or an accused person to give evidence and attack the evidence of a co-accused if he so desires. So he said, consequently, then the ruling that he has made, Mr. Baloyi stands that cannot use the statements of accused number 2 to cross-examine accused number 1, because pronouncements have been made regarding the status of the statements or confession or pointings out. The case is still ongoing. So Advocate Baloyi then continued to do what he does. He went through the transactions of Mr. Sibia's bank accounts. He went back to the Capitec bank account.
Let us press the like button, guys. Sorry, let's press the like button, please. Press the like button heading to 150 or above. Let's press the like button, please, so that we don't stop anyway.
So on the Standard Bank account, he said it showed that on the 1st of October 2014, there were no further deposits or withdrawals on his account. He also looked back at the Nedbank account on the 28th of November 2014, 1339. There was a cash withdrawal of 100 Rand at shop 11A and 11B Naledi Foslorus. And Baloyi said that in December of 2014, there were no further deposits or withdrawals. And part of March until 19 March 2015, there were no withdrawals. So Sibia said, I would like to remind you, prosecutor, that this card was used by Mbali. It was mine, but used by her. What she did was withdrawals. There were no deposits. I don't know if the prosecutor is talking about deposits, which ones, because there's only withdrawals. And Baloyi then said, but do you agree that there were no transactions for that time period? And Sibia said, no, I don't agree. What I can agree to is that there are no withdrawals, not transactions, because when a person makes a deposit, but here it does not show the deposits, but only shows withdrawals at certain times and places only. He said he cannot admit to something that he doesn't see because it only depicts cash withdrawals only. There's nowhere where it depicts deposits. And the prosecutor did say that they went to ask for withdrawals, and the withdrawals don't say that when you withdraw 1,000 rands, for example, and maybe 500 rands is left in the bank account, it does not have a balance. It's only withdrawals. It does not show how much is left. Nothing is shown there. So this is a weird bank statement, right? Because Mr. Sibia is expressing how shorter. Like, on a normal bank statement, when you make a withdrawal, you are shown your credit, what. You are shown all the details, especially the money that is still left. So this transactions and accounts that are on a spreadsheet, they seem to not have that, which is weird. Okay. It's weird, and we cannot get over the weirdness of it all. So Baloyi repeated the question again, and included the fact that the bank statement is a spreadsheet, and I'm like, okay, so it means it went via Excel, just like the cell phone evidence of Steyn went via Excel. But who put it in Excel? Did they put it in Excel, or was it put in Excel by the bank teller who under sections can come to testify?
Question, but probably you're not going to get the answer.
Well, Sibia then said, I can see when the prosecutor is talking about withdrawals, they ended on 2014, November the 28th, and then again on 2015, March the 19th. I can see what is written here. He said, I already stated that I'm the one who made this card. The person who was using it was Mbali. I was not using this card. So Baloyi now asked how Sibia and Mbali were surviving if there were no withdrawals. And Sibia said, don't say Mbali and I. I already said that I was at the home states, right, in KZN. The reason for me to stay at home was because I was out of work. I was not going to be able to provide for myself or make ends meet. That is why I went home. When I returned from home, I went to reside with my uncle in Tembisa, and he's the one who was working. When he got paid, he was able to buy food so that we could continue to survive. Then Baloyi went back to the Standard Bank account, and he said 26 May cash withdrawals were 900 rands, 14 June 2014 month end balance of 6 rands. There's no further activity on the account. 14th of July 2014, the balance was 6 rands and no further activities were happening on the account. And Sibia said he was listening. However, he doesn't know how it has been written here. He can see the 6 rands, and there were 2 accounts, one for doing everything and another one that he had opened up for saving. So the one that the prosecutor was talking about, he said he doesn't know which one he's referring to. Remember, he had expressed that with his Standard Bank account, it was divided into 2 accounts. He said he was using another account for saving money and the other account for day-to-day expenses and withdrawals and whatnot. So Baloyi said it's the access account. That's the one that's for saving. Is that a fact? Is he sure? Or he's just saying this? Pella, the bank people did not come. Is it a fact that the access account is a savings account with Standard Bank? Mr. Anonymous, please find that out quickly for me on Google.
It's pointless. He has put in it as a fact.
So Sibia said there is a chance that he was not saving money. Most times when a person is saving money is a person who earns a salary. that they earn this much and then they're able to save this much because he opened that account around the time that he was still working. Balo, he read several months and that had still had a bank balance of 6 rands. You know, at this point, I didn't know where all of this was going. Well, Sibia said that the account was for saving money. You could transfer the leftover money to it. But he did find it strange that it remained stagnant at 6 rands, you know, not getting deducted or anything. The bank charges, because see, I'm a bank afana no Standard Bank Pella, they charge. You'll find your account in the negative. I was horrified by this other bank account I had. They couldn't even allow me to close my bank account. They said I owed them money. I was like, what? What? So I kept it open without putting money in, without putting money in it. And oh my God, when I went there and I said, you know what? I'm not using this bank account and it's too much for me. Your bank charges are out of this world. And they said, no, you owe us money. You should close that account. To close it, you need to pay us. And I'm like, yeah. So the bank... I was traumatized. I was like, what?
Are you friendly?
What? Yeah, no, that's not nice. So he said that he was surprised as to why the 6 rand was not getting deducted. The bank charges were supposed to take that 6 rand. You are not ishalili 6 rand shem for months. I ishalili 6 rand.
Charges.
Which is nice if they're seeing that there's no money coming in, which is a good thing, you know. It's a good thing for a bank to have, unlike these other ones where they go and take you to the negatives.
What I was talking about, you discover this and that. Kuluma ngebank elibomvu la, the red one. Alidlali nengane.
Hey,
Wavula account you. You open an account, you owe it.
How much charges wakhona? I'm a student. Oh my God.
Find a TV license.
That's in Carl.
I think I owe it for like something like 2003 or something.
Sure, Mutimo.
I pengal bomba lala nja.
Ngaze ngayisola ukuthi bengivulela ni account lapha ya. Ngayisola.
The one that we are talking about that keeps on charging you.
And then they targeted us at student stuff. You're like, oh, I'm fresh from high school. I need a bank account. But it's a student, what? It makes no difference. I was traumatized, okay? So, yeah. So Sbia found it strange that what kind of a bank is it that doesn't take that 6 rand, number one, and number two, you know, he's asking, you know, why is there no credit balance? But he was talking about the Standard Bank. So he was also asking, why is there no credit balance? You know, when you withdraw money or you put in money, there's a column there that shows you how much money you have left in the account. So this one that Balo is using in court only has withdrawals. Only.
Yes.
Then Baloy went to the transactions of the main account starting at the 15th of September 2024 to the 14th of September 2024. 1st of October 2014, not 2024, 2014, my apologies. So 1st of October 2014, the withdrawals are that of 200, no deposits or withdrawals. Only his month-end balance was reflected. There are no deposits or withdrawals. And then he said, you mentioned last week that you made a withdrawal of 11,000 rands. There's a part of testimony that Sibia volunteered that he doesn't see that 11,000 rands that he spent at around this time period that this bank statement is being shown to him, right? So Advocate Baloy picked it up and used it today. So Sibia said that there was a certain paper that he saw, and Sibia said that he knows that there was an amount of 11,000 rands that he withdrew from Nongoma, and he said that he's the one who made that withdrawal. There was no one else who could have made that withdrawal because his card limit is 5,000 rands. So he said that if someone else withdrew it, it had to be below 5,000 rands. However, this 11,000 rands was way above that, and he would make the withdrawal himself. He said he made the withdrawal at Nongoma. So Sibia said he was at the homestead around that time era when he was making this specific withdrawal. And he said that there was no one who could withdraw that money besides him. The 11,000 rands, he said there was another 7,000 rands in around 2013, 14, 15. He was at home and he would come to Joburg to do something and then return back home. The person who would withdraw that money was him. There's also an amount of 50,000 rand. Sibia said that he received this 50,000 rands after he lost his employment. And he said that there are no criminal activities in his bank account. Everything is legit and legal. There are no amounts connected to Senzo's death, and there's nothing unlawful. He said, in fact, you can trace all the monies. I'm sure they could trace that 50,000 rands, which is why they didn't bring it up. I mean, it would have been manna from heaven if it came from a dodgy account, right? Even when he gave his cards to Mbali, he said there's nothing wrong with that. Baloyi asked if he made this 11,000 rands inside the bank. Did he deposit it and entered the bank inside to deposit it? Well, Sibia said even though he doesn't remember where he was withdrawing it, what he was taking it for was building material, because he said it's not quite complete. There's an 11,000 rands that he withdrew from the bank, and then there's another one, 11,000 rands that he used to buy building materials. Even when he was buying the building materials, there were no other persons who were allowed to use that amount of money. He said to use that amount of money, you have to make sure that the card is yours. And Baloyi asked if he went inside the bank to make the withdrawal. Sibia said, like he said, this 11,000 rands, he doesn't know whether he withdrew it or whether it was withdrawn from the bank or at Build It. Build It is the hardware store where he would have bought building materials. He said, however, it is written Nongoma, which means that it's the homestead. He was staying at home around this time period. Well, Baloyi then said, which actually puts weight on what he was saying, that he would come to Johannesburg and go back home. The fact that there are also transactions that are happening in Nongoma. You know, you see? So Baloyi then said, Mr. Sibia, we asked you a very simple question. You said the withdrawal was excess of your daily limit. Now all that we are asking, did you go inside the bank to withdraw this 11,000 rands? And Sibia said, maybe the prosecutor is not hearing me properly. I said, I don't recall. I don't recall going inside because it is not written here. There is an amount, 11,000 rands I withdrew at the bank, and an 11,000 rands I used to buy building materials. Then Sibia pointed to something and asked what was written there. And Baloyi said that there is a second withdrawal on 2014-04-30. It's also micro withdrawal. It's an amount of 7,000 rands. The ATM is also at Nongoma. There's a further transaction on the 14th of May 2014. It's also a micro withdrawal on 4,000 rands, and the ATM is Golden Walk. 19th of June 2014 also. 9 micro withdrawal in the amount of 3,000 rands, and the ATM is at Nongoma. And he said, were these withdrawals made inside the bank? And Sibia said, I would like you to explain what that word micro withdrawal means. So Baloyi explained, and he said that's how banks distinguish a withdrawal at an open ATM and a withdrawal inside the bank. How does he know this? Does he work at a bank?
Maybe someone's feeding.
In other words, he said these withdrawals that were made inside the bank, Sibia said if this is the case, then the 11,000 rands I was inside the bank. Golden Walk in Germiston, an amount of 4,000 rands. Sibia said, if it was withdrew from inside the bank, then I'm the one who made the withdrawal. It means I'm the one who withdrew the money. Sibia also confirmed that 4,000 rands in Nongoma. He said that it shows that he would go to Johannesburg, right, to visit, and then he was living in Makai. That's what he's saying. It's an emphasis to prove, because these months, the way I've just read these dates, it seems like they are close to each other. No, it's actually months apart. There's May, there's June, there's July. They're like that. So Baloyi then said there's a deposit on the 5th of January in the amount of 350 rands. It's a cash deposit by Bongiwe Zondo, and he was asking who this person was, and Sibia said it's Bongiwe Zondo from Ulundi, and Baloyi asked what was this deposit for. Sibia said it would be hard for him to state what the money was for. It's been a very long time, from 2014 till date. He will not be able to state what this amount was for. And Baloyi said, what is the relationship between you and her? And Sibia said that she was her girlfriend. Hi.
Press the like button. Phume endaweni zabantu. Press the like button. Aselanga umjolo.
Well, Baloyi then said, can we refer to the inner these transactions? Sibia said he did not recall the details of the days when he was booking for learners. And Baloyi said that when Matlo testified, he did not have a problem on the 22nd of July 2014. Sibia filled in a form, and he said that he filled in his address there. That address that he filled in was Basotho Hostel and 43 Fosleris. Sibia said that is the address that he was using even when he was on these bank statements. That is the address that is being reflected. Baloyi asked him if he was from the hostel. Remember, there was a time that he did say that he lived at Basotho Hostel, right? So Baloyi asked him if he was from the hostel or home when he called to book the learners. Every time he keeps asking him whether he resided at Basotho Hostel, and it's almost like he wants him to entrap and deny and say that he had never lived at Basotho Hostel. It's a redundant mechanism. It's a psychological tactic of getting him when he's tired to see if he will change his statement. The way he keeps asking about Basotho Hostel, you'd swear he wants him to say, no, I didn't live there. But it's not happening. Sibia is admitting it, and he's frank about it. He's not like he has something to hide or acting all dodgy and stuff. He's just saying, yes, I did. There was a time period I stayed at Basotho Hostel, and that's that. I did have to go back home after I lost my employment. And I'm sure the bank records with that 50,000 rands cash injection can indicate to that effect that indeed he did lose his job. I mean, what company pays you 50,000 rand at random without letting you go?
Doesn't matter in RATHA'S.
Oh, yeah. Ratha Vele now. He lives in his own world. He hears evidence differently from the rest of us. Well, Sibia said it's that I don't know when the prosecutor says that I made a call. Does he mean I called Brakpan from the hostel or from home? Because Baloyi has asked him if he was from the hostel or home when he called in advance to book the learners. Well, Baloyi said you were at Brakpan DLTC on the 17th of July 2014. And Sibia said said if what Baloyi is reading down and what is written there, then yes. He said it's hard for him to recall the dates. It's been since 2014. Remember that. I also don't remember dates like that. I don't want to lie, because if you were to ask me what I was doing on the 22nd of July 2014, I don't know. Sibia said that he was from the homestead when he went to Brakpan. Baloyi asked him why he gave the Basotho address on the 17th of July 2014. This for me was a bit awkward, because it's like he was compelling Sibia to have done his learner's license in KZN. He was supposed to do it in Nongoma. Why did he do it in Gauteng?
For many reasons, it's easy to fail in small towns than you are to fail in Joburg.
Or Konje, they want Gwaza.
I'm not gonna say things like that here.
Okay, I withdraw. I withdraw. I withdraw. Why do you mean it's easy? It's easier to pass.
In these small towns, the roads are clear,
Okay.
and every mistake that you made is kind of highlighted.
Or you're able to track your progress. Isn't that happening in small towns too?
In big towns, you mean?
Big towns.
I'm saying in small towns, you get a road
Yes.
that is clear, and the towns are
Congested.
in a sort of a mountain type of a place. You know, you'd find that there's downing and upping. Now you are
Steeping.
facing the steeple many times. Do you
Which is
understand?
good exercise. I mean, it's good.
But you are being tested. So many people fail. I know many people have failed in small towns, and they went to big towns and
they
they
passed.
did well.
Okay. All right. So Sibia said because he already stated that there are no addresses at his home state. The address that he used was the one in Johannesburg, and the Fosleras address is the one that he knows. He did his learners in Gauteng, therefore he was opt to give out an address that was within Gauteng. Imagine registering ko traffic with an address that is across province. Do you think your application will be approved? No. He said if I did this, Learners at home, I was going
No,
to
they would
inform
approve
them.
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't it?
No, it doesn't matter.
If it's across provinces.
I know one guy, when I went to test somewhere in Joburg,
Yes.
I know one guy who was from school, actually,
Okay.
from KZN and Peter Maritzburg. Yes,
He was using his address from Peter Maritzburg.
I would assume so, yes.
Well, he said that he stays in Mahlabatina under the village of Shumaeli. However, now that he did, his learners, he did it in Gauteng. That's why he gave the address of Basutung Hostel. He said he used this address so that the people from home would inform him each time when he got a letter. So I'm going to assume that there are still family members there at Basutung Hostel, maybe, or at the time when he was taking the learners, he had left people that were familiar with him and could communicate the letters as they arrived.
You know, the crazy thing is,
What is the crazy thing?
my bank statement is still reading Pretoria address up until today.
Manje ubaloyi uzokubuza ukuthi why is it
Why?
It's dangerous in South Africa right now to always be updating your address on the system.
Correct.
It's
They
very
have access in
dangerous.
these systems, man.
Yes, it's dangerous.
When people start tracking you,
They know exactly where you live, where you lay your head and stuff like that. You don't want that. You don't need that kind of... Even now, I don't update my addresses. I don't want to lie. I always think about that I'm going to be easy to find. I don't want that. I don't want that. You need to struggle a bit, sweat a bit before you can find me. Especially these people who are hitmen and stuff. It can be easy to find you. So you must always be cognizant of that. Don't just
Giving
change
your
your
address.
address. Don't just change your address. As soon as you move into a new place, you're quick to change it. Wait a bit. Wait a bit.
yes, well, I left it on purpose. Huh?
They must sweat a bit. They must look for
This
you.
Popia, we protect your information. Nonsense.
Amanga,
Is
we're
nonsense.
getting phone calls now from call centers. People the whole day. We don't even know how they share our stuff. No.
Even if you do tick that part, it's no further marketing.
Yes, they still put you there and they're still cold calling you with awkward questions. Ma'am, there's car insurance for you on Friday. I'm like, no, I don't want it. No, I've never requested or went online and did a quotation for this. Why are you calling me? Please. So yes, there's a lot of things happening with our data. It's not safe. So also he said that the record is from the 25th of March 2014, and he had been in an area near Mahlabatini in KZN. So what basically Advocate Balo is doing here is to say or ask him or binding him to having done his license there at KZN and not come to Gauteng to do it. There are many various reasons why people don't do learners licenses where they grew up. One would say they grew up because even with Sibia, he evolved and he was working in Gauteng. Should he want a job, he wanted his job in Gauteng. So why must he go and learn with the roads of KZN when he would be using the roads of Gauteng at most of times, you know?
You don't need to explain yourself. You're going to sound stupid if you do.
Yeah.
You do license any way you want to do in South Africa.
Well, Baloy said you traveled all the way to Gauteng from Mahlabatini just to do a learner driving test. And Sibia said, I didn't know how to drive. How was I going to learn how to drive? I chose to do my learners in Johannesburg. I used to leave home and bring my CVs to companies in Johannesburg, but there are companies in KZN. So we do leave companies
because
in KZN.
Because the interpreter said you drove all the way.
He said, however, I was still staying at home. So Baloy said that Mr. Batlo testified that there was a driving test in Nongoma, and Sibia said he preferred to get his license in Joburg. A person has a right to do their learners wherever they want or wish to do it. Just like in Pretoria, there are kids who go to school in Tembisa. Everyone has a choice to do whatever they want, wherever they want. So after the long adjournment, he said that there was a 5-day gap between the day that he booked or called to make a booking and the day that he went to write. So between the booking and the time that he took the learner's test, Sibia said that if that is the date that is being depicted on the 22nd, usually if it was on the 17th, it was on a Monday, he would stay in Gauteng up until the 22nd because usually the taxis to home would leave on Fridays. And he said, just like I've mentioned before, that whenever I used to come back to Gauteng, I wouldn't go back home
so
immediately.
Many people would not understand why he say usually the taxis leave around Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you this. KZN has small towns, like, I'm just going to count a few.
Okay.
Like Mahlabatini, Batini, Mashon. And then we have Melmoth, small town. And then we have Isho, still counts as a small town. I'm saying this because in terms of the long distance taxis, like for instance, let's say you have a taxi from Melmoth, it maybe it comes to Joburg around Monday, because that's normally the time people leave villages to go back to work. For example, maybe you took a day off, including Monday, then you come back maybe on Sunday, or come back maybe on also Saturday. You get a taxi there, and maybe on Monday. Then there is then a dry week up until
Friday again.
I'm talking about from the small towns. And then the other side is the opposite. People on Friday, Saturday, they are going home for some small holiday or something like that. Mm-hmm. So then your taxi would go to Joburg maybe on Monday, only to come back on Saturday.
Okay.
If it missed the Saturday, there's a Friday slot because there was a taxi already ahead of you coming from the same town or something like that. So when you're in Joburg, then you would have taxis, obviously going to Mahlabatini specifically, not Ulundi. So other people choose to take Ulundi because Ulundi is in a sense bigger and a bit busier. It's like people from Melmoth and people from Mpangeni, people from Tuba, for example, they also choose to go to Mpangeni because Mpangeni is highly busy. You know, you get a day, you are guaranteed to have 2 or 3 taxis a day in Mpangeni because most people choose to go take taxis there to Joburg. So it's a busy area there. You don't stay for 2 days in Joburg waiting for people to go back home. So when he says usually the taxis would go on Friday, that's what he means. That is from the small town, taxis would wait, go to Soweto, these hostels, they go chill there until they are called at the rank. Where is that rank now? It's Nkomeni. Previously it was Wanderers.
Okay.
And then on Friday there are people who are going back to KZN. That's how it is. Unless, of course, you decide, I'm from Meshowe, look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Mpangeni tax, then get off Nkwalini, I mean, from Nkwalini to Eshowe, we're talking about maybe, less than an hour. You are at Eshowe town already by that time.
And you can always find a local car.
And then the other ones, I think Melmoth is lucky because Eshowe passes Melmoth, Mpangeni passes Melmoth.
Okay.
So you can just take a taxi from to Mpangeni and go to Melmoth. Or even Babanang also, you can take a taxi from Mpangeni, get off there and then go home. Those are the places that you would look at. Even Ulund does that actually. If they are in a hurry, they take a taxi to Mpangeni. That's why taxis to Mpangeni, they are always full. You take a taxi to Mpangeni, you get off at 19, you go to Ulund.
Okay.
And Vryheid, it passes by Vryheid, Newcastle, as long as you have money. Because I think in Mpangeni you pay something like maybe 400, or if I'm not mistaken, it's around 400 or something like that. So it's a busy town in Mpangeni. It's lucky because everyone passes there. Richards Bay, what not, everyone uses that taxi.
Thank you for the explanation.
So that's what Muzi is trying to explain that I'm a taxa kubaya lindo.
You wait for them in Johannesburg. Okay. Well, as Bia said, he would stay at Vosloorus at the hostel whenever he came to Gauteng. And Baloy said that at the very address you gave on this booking form, and Sibia said, yes, sometimes it would be there, sometimes it would be somewhere else. Remember, there's Mbali also, you understand? So Baloy then said he put it to him that in the period of 2014, he was in Gauteng, as shown by his bank records and the bookings he made for the learner license. Well, Sibia said the prosecutor did not see me. Did he see him in 2014 in Gauteng? No. That is his opinion, he says. And he said, what I'm saying is that in 2014, I left to reside at the homestead. I would come to Johannesburg, do whatever I wanted to do, then go back and reside at the homestead. I came back to Johannesburg in 2015. He also mentioned that his cards were used by himself and Mbali. Even the prosecutor may say that his cards were working a lot in Johannesburg. He was at home. There was work in Johannesburg, according to the Times, the prosecutor counted, but he was at home. Some transactions were by him, and they show that sometimes there were withdrawals in the homesteads where he was staying. You know, even when he was doing the learners, he would leave home and come and do the bookings at Boxback and then return home in KZN. He said it doesn't shock him that the prosecutor's opinion is saying that he was staying in Joburg because he has been investigating this case from the beginning with Gininda. Prosecutorial-led investigation. He said, I kept telling them that I don't know anything about Senzo's death. And they kept saying I knew about Senzo's death. So I must remain silent. When the prosecutor is telling me that I was not staying at home while he insists that I was living in Joburg, I was residing at home. He said in 2015, he went back to reside with his uncle in Tembisa. Baloyi went to the other transactions across all the 3 banks and said that there's no transaction that was made in Tembisa. They are from 2015. Well, Sibia asked for the bank statements, the full ones. He requested, because he's saying that the ones he has, he made a request that they should be for 2014 and 15, up to the 16th of June 2025. Sibia said it does not mean that he wasn't in Tembisa in 2015. After the transactions of June, that's when the Tembisa transactions will start to show up. The period prosecutor, he said that the period that the prosecutor has chosen is the one that he wanted. So he was unable to show the transactions that he did in Tembisa. Sibia says that in 2015, he used his cards in Tembisa. So, yeah. He must supposed to have requested up until December of 2015 to see those transactions that he made in Tembisa. Uzothini ke? Angazi. So Baloyi asked if he knew Mabungu Ntuli. Sibia said he knew him. His uncle from his maternal side of the family. His mother's side of the family. Baloyi asked if he was his uncle or uncle to accused number 5. Sibia said no. And he said he did not know Simpiwe Buthelezi, because now Advocate Baloyi had brought up the statement of Simpiwe Buthelezi, and he said that Ngomezulu had asked Gininda to read the statement into the record. Well, he read bits and pieces of Simpiwe's testimony to try and, argue with Mr. Sibia or create something. Well, he read Simpiwe Buthelezi's statement into the record. Sibia said that there are many Muzis out there, because in the statement of Simpiwe Buthelezi, it said that Muzis Bia, and he's saying that there are many Muzis out there, and he's not from Nongoma but from Mahlabatini. Well, Baloyi read the statement and it mentioned Muzis Bia, and Muzis said that Muzis Bia were many. There are many Muzis Bias, and he is not from Nongoma. He's not talking about him. Well, the statement said Moses Bia hit his girlfriend regarding the Senzo Meyiwa case and attempted murder. Sibia picked up another error on that statement as well, because they wrote Kwabeni instead of Gwabeni. Hey, Sibia's eyes are sharp when he's looking through those papers.
You know why they wrote Kwabeni?
Why? Why Kwabeni? Why?
Because it's a Joburg person who was writing this.
I saw Advocate Baloyi's face.
Kwa.
It's like, no, it's not Gwabeni. It's like you say it's Gwabeni out of your mouth, but what comes out of your mouth is not what's written here. What's written here is Gwabeni. Well, the statement...
that's how you catch Joburg people. Like, when they pronounce let's say it's a name like Manqele.
Talking about...
It's Maqele. They use C. Yeah, when they say Manqele, they say Maqele.
Okay. Always the qa and
yes.
the qa.
Yes.
And the qa. Yes, young khahlela le qa no qa no. I can't differentiate. Also, I'm a Joburg person,
so this...
It kicks my ass.
This... Who's this person who wrote this?
They
say who?
I forgot.
Simpiwe Buthelezi.
Simpiwe Buthelezi is the one who was narrating. Obviously, it wasn't written by him. It's going to be some police officer who wrote it, right? I doubt Simpiwe Buthelezi sat there with a pen and paper and wrote all of this. He was narrating and a police officer was writing. It's a police officer who wrote the statement. It's just that I don't remember which one. I have to go back and re-listen. So yes, they also wrote on that statement, it says that In June 2020, Simphiwe Buthelezi went to Vosloorus and heard Muzi had fought with his girlfriend over the Senzo Meyiwa case. His father paid a policeman to cancel out the case. Muzi said that his father knows nothing about the death of Senzo, and Sibiya said his father never bribed a policeman to kill a case. This is so strange. It's like it's not enough implicating Muzi. Now his father, they are putting him within, especially after finding out that they went with him to his family home. This is disturbing, in my opinion. After they arrested him, they dragged him to KZN so that his parents could see him in chains and shackles and cuffs and stuff.
Who do you think is this police?
That they try to bribe. Zungu? Could it be Zungu?
Yeah, Zoo. They're trying to say Zoo. You remember Muzi called apparently the brother of Muzi.
Oh, that whole statement of his.
They're trying to create that scenario. Was the problem with that whole process? They wanted to create it, but it never materialized. They don't have evidence.
They don't.
But it begs the question whether Muzi was lying or not about the payment he was going to get.
You mean Muzi or Zungu?
Muzi,
Who was going to get payment?
If they made that confession.
Oh, of 300,000 rand.
Now do you see what that man was going to do? It was going to create that whole scenario. That man was going to say Muzi was paid this money for killing
Kelly.
Senzo.
Not Kelly, man, Senzo.
And then I'm sure in that man they were going to say, please pay Zungu some portion. And then from there, that was going to look like a bribery.
So benze kahle in refusing that money.
So everything was calculated beforehand. It just didn't materialize the way.
They thought that they would be desperate and poor enough to take the money and the offer. And somehow they just rejected it. And that's when this whole thing went wrong and it started going left.
That's when it started getting, in my opinion, physical.
It did get physical because some of them were even, is it accused number 4? He was apparently assaulted in his cell by men who were wearing SWAT-like uniform. That's what made the sister even go ballistic on the media. It did get intense. Also with Buntanzi. Sure, guys.
So it was going to happen.
Hi, those guys are strong. Not many. A lot of would have succumbed to the pressure and gracefully went to jail for something they didn't do. A lot would have.
Let's finish up. It's about to be 2.
He said that it would have been proper if the prosecutor gives his statement to his lawyer so that they can be in a position to read this and comment on it. So Baloyi played Muzi a video footage from ENCA of the Spaza house of Longetwala limping, and he started, he was not limping on that video. But apparently he's walking straight according to Baloyi. But then I don't understand why he's asking Sibiya about his injury and ankle. If he had an ankle injury, was he going to be walking the way that he was walking? Oh, it's so awkward. Sibia said that it would be hard for him to comment, and even how they usually walk, he does not know how this person walks on a daily basis, so he wouldn't know how to compare. Well, Mnisi said that the state insists that the person depicted on that video is Mr. Longotwala and his movements, right? He requested for the person in the video to be brought to court so that they can inspect as to whether, they did like they did with the inspection in local, whether this person is who the state is saying they are. Well, Baloyi said that the defense is at liberty to have him subpoenaed. Mnisi said it is the state that is bringing up Longwe, not them. The state should not shift the burden that they have to the defense. They keep saying that the person is Longwe Twala. Let him come so he can, they can make their own, the court can make its own observation. They don't know who Longwe is. Well, the judge said Ngome Zulu said he will bring Longwe and his evidence will be that he's the one who shot Senzo Meyiwa when Longwe and Zandi were fighting. And the judge asked for the defense to call him. He said the defense said they consulted him. Nisi said that Longwe...
Can you imagine that kind of nonsense flying in that court? Longwe was defended by the state initially.
Yes.
Then Ngomezulu followed up because of that.
Yes.
All the theories and whatnot that Ngomezulu put as an assertion of whatever that was said in that court. It is because Longwe was brought in by their evidence.
Hey, it's them who brought him up.
But
first.
then to say and compel the defense to call Longwe, I see it as a proxy game that is played and it's forced to this defense.
To the defense.
For one reason or another, Longwe comes in there and points at one of these people. Then what?
Maybe that's the plan.
You can almost see their plan. And I hope this does not fall on that nonsense.
Don't ignore.
He's not compelled.
Ignore all the witnesses from the house like the plague.
If the court so wishes, they need clarity because it's up to them. If they need clarity, they must call Long.
Yes.
They also have.
Onus is on
they
them.
are also at liberty.
And then
to do
the
that.
defense will cross-examine in that order. Because them subpoenaing them for them to not even be sure of what they're going to say while they're on that stand.
Even if you brief this person. It flight long, and I'm gonna say it. It flight long because of previously. The defense that was there previously caused this nonsense of Long to fly. Today, it is holding everyone at ransom. Let us be honest.
And a lot of people were wondering why. Why is Mzansi Reality not entertaining this?
Even Ngomezulu. If it wasn't for the people who kept on calling, in my opinion, Ngomezulu, and trying to feed him these narratives in a name of we are working together. Today, it's a proxy card that is very dangerous. If you want to open it and look what is inside it, do it at your own risk. But this nonsense started because of that. And it's nonsense. I'm saying it's nonsense because it's a proxy game that is being played by people that in my view, I don't view them as people who have good intentions. People call the defense, putting assertions on this defense, putting things in their heads. I feel some of the things that Ngomezulu said, they were not in line with what Sbia said. Some of them, and I'm gonna say it today. Some of them, they were coming from the outside forces that were claiming that they were working with the defense. They were looking for justice. They were looking for justice. And those forces, they created this mess.
A lawyer has to work on a blank page. Okay?
And I think a person who can tell you the best, working with those forces, later they were dragged, is Ramusibil. Some of these forces were working with them and they created a problem instead of solving the problem. And that's how these forces move. Instead of solving the problem, they leave you in more troubles.
And
they keep on whispering on your ear, hey, we have this evidence, don't worry, we'll do this evidence. And then look, and then you start putting that assertion on record on the witnesses. I don't think Mgomezulu had prepared Longwe, because no way Longwe was around.
How was he going to have contact with Longwe?
There are forces who claim that we are doing justice. And these forces, they always don't have a proof. They just know how to tarnish people's name, but proof, dololo.
Because
so now this Longwe must come now.
Yeah, now. We are in this situation
the
where
judge is using it.
Yes. It's like meat, like manna.
And you tell me that those people are really fighting for the truth. Honestly speaking, it baffles me to hear people being associated with such. Like, honestly speaking, it baffles me. But there's something wrong.
If you want,
it can't be that wherever you are, there is a mess.
You must let a lawyer work on a blank page. Don't come and fill their heads and distract them and because the thing that ends up happening is this, where traps are being set, they will fall into the traps, and once they are in the trap, they can't get out.
Answering your question is dangerous. No? But let us say that was a scenario. I'm going to answer it like that. Let us say that was a scenario. Let us assume that was a scenario. I would still say, associating with certain forces, you are calling for such. Because let me tell you, in my own mind, I'm convinced that for everything they do, there's always a twisted something just for a certain reason. And probably there's also money involved. So you go there, you're thinking, we are one team, only to find that you have a player that is actually playing against you. It's like that thing of football where Piri Issa decided to chow us against France. We took Piri Issa as a player that was going to play for us. Only to find that when we play against France, Piri Issa is going to make sure that he is not only defending little, he scores against us. It's that situation. So be careful of those situations. Don't put yourself in those situations. Just because someone comes with something that looks legit, because they're always talking about they have legit this and that. And then you think, oh, let me use it.
It's
dangerous.
Hardcore proof.
It's dangerous. Once you connect with these people, and let me tell you, you can't deal with people who have phones that are tagged and not catch the smoke. You are going to catch a smoke. They know they have phones that are tagged for one reason or another.
They know.
Whether they were done on purpose or whether they know about it properly, that it actually is like that. They know. And they still call you with that number and say, hey, what's up? Let's talk with that number.
They chat with you on WhatsApp.
And then what happens? You get tagged and you become an easy target because guess what?
Are you asking?
Probably you don't have the same security they have.
No, you don't have the same protection.
You are just a simple person who's looking for truth.
Information.
And you want something that's going to help you. Then you die. But it's a story for another day.
Not to say that
it will take you long enough to actually analyze that process and see it for what it is.
Not to say that's what happened in this case.
But I'm not saying that.
It's a scenario.
It's a scenario. I'm answering your question in a scenario situation. If you want
There's
to.
This hacking program. They call it Pegasus.
Emil, no.
Okay, let me leave it alone.
Let's leave it like that.
Okay, guys, bye. I'm wrapping it up. We'll see each other again tomorrow. Mr. Anonymous, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. Tempting. Certain things are tempting. But
discuss, but
let's just leave it at that.
They're
guys.
better at the membership.
Guys, hey,
They're busy the
Nani
membership.
guys nibuza yonke le ndifuna
Kanti
ukusho
nifuna
nje.
ukutshela yonke into kanti nina hawu kahle guys. Usithi
Afuna usilimaza lapha. Ufuna usilimaza nina abanye. Hayi mina ngibuye ngini-question namabuza nibuza. Hayi la
very
ngathi manje.
suspicious. Very suspicious questions.
Ufuna sisho izinto ezithize wena manje.
Okay, let's go. Let's wrap it up, guys. We'll see each other again tomorrow. But we have covered everything. The next part was going to talk about what we talked about at the beginning.
We talked about at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool, guys. Thank you very much. Press the like button. And until today, thank you. We
guys.
appreciate you. Iphelela lapha indaba mfowethu.
Aye, bye, guys. So, banana, kusasa.
Sothi sichaze zonke izinto. Hey,
So, bosha pen.
boshwa or sohujo.
Let's just leave. Bye, bye, guys. See you tomorrow.